Don't be left behind. To pay, simply download and open the Orange Money Africa app, select Scan It, and scan. Now payment is as easy as 123 with Orange Money QR codes.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
Well, what kind of message did people sending me again? Oh, who said my SIM not register? I was one of the first people them to buy my SIM from there when they came to the...
I see. So that all the only one actually get time. Now you must do a using your national ID card. After registration, there is a special number you can call.
Yeah. They really make it easier for us.
Yes, we are all required to register our SIM cards by using our national ID cards. But that's not all. Orange Liberia provides a very easy way out for you to self-check your status. Dial *543-4# to check a SIM registration status, free of charge. We take pride in bringing you closer to what matters the most.
Brings you closer.
Hello, number 100% Liberian-owned professional garage and auto parts dealer, Uptown Garage is still around and going stronger and garage at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets. After 20 years business as a new spare parts store known as Uptown Spare Parts on Broad Street side. You don't have to order spare parts from overseas. Your car from us. No more used parts. Spark plug from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to us. Uptown Garage has a branch at Rehab that you can also count on. We have a diagnoser that can find and we fix any problem on your car. With our sophisticated equipment, we give 1 month warranty. We provide a tow truck free of charge if it's our garage that will work on your car, but we can tow your car anywhere for a fee. Uptown Garage has been around for 20 years now, providing reliable, efficient, and professional services and durable auto parts for your car. Contact Uptown Garage head office on 0777-553317, 0886-553317, or at our rehab branch on 0770-902865. Our email address is uptowngarage2014@gmail.com. Uptown Garage, always the best. Forget the rest.
Thank you very much. Back on 50/50 on Sky 107. We are discussing the topic, what all the noise about the CPP framework agreement alterations, the Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence lie. Why should the public believe Councillor Gould is our special studio guest? Anthony Gould. Oh, Anthony, not Councillor yet. I got one newspaper, unfortunately, today. It's strange. On Monday morning. One newspaper, the front page newspaper. So let me give you the banner headlines to the front and back pages of the only newspaper that I have today. Let's start with I am angered, but you ease my pain. Charles Saliv comments after Finance Minister Samuel Twer's debunking of alleged missing $16 billion Liberian dollars. The photos of the two individuals, Charles Saliv and Samuel Twer. All schools to open in November. Ministry of Education announces activities leading the reopening of schools for the academic 2021 and 2022. Rescue mission. People's Liberation Executive departs Liberia to access humanitarian condition. Others at the Burum refugee camp in Accra, Ghana. As Finnish court concludes Gabriel Masekwe's war crime trial in Liberia, George urges this nation needs to deal with the past. He said, and I quote, I would say it would be better that Liberia should deal with war crimes cases like this and set up a war crimes court if possible. Presiding Judge Juhani Peho said that. Coming slams accusers in CPP alleged framework document tampering saga. Coming said, and I quote, Nyonblee deceived the public. Nyonblee deceived the public. He says, and I quote, "Today, I want to confirm and assure you that I, Alexander Benedict Cummings, did not alter the framework document as amended by the lawyers and approved by all the constituent political parties. This is the singular fact, and Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence knows that. Joseph Boyka knows that. Benina Ure knows that." That's Alexander B. Cummings' statement. The back page of the front page newspaper said, "For the respecting Lone Star Cam and Code of Conduct Defender Jeremy Segwe drop for disciplinary reasons." You can buy the only for the editorial today, Senator Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence. The honor on you to allow fair play in the investigation of the alleged editorial for today. I'm going back to the topic for which I've invited Anthony Oratio Gould, the political advisor to the political leader of the ANC, Alexander Benedict Cummings. And Gould is our special studio guest. We ask him to address what is this noise about framework agreement alteration. The Nyonblee Karnga tell a lie. Why should I believe him? Good morning, Mr. Gould.
Good morning, T-Max. It's always a pleasure being in the studio. Good morning, Liberia.
Okay, let's look at this. Yesterday was a bombshell. What is this noise about this alteration all about? The CPP, let me put it to you bluntly, it started with this. Somebody will say tomorrow the document was tampered with. Somebody will say it happened within the Liberty Party, said the document filed to the National Election Commission was criminally altered by the Secretary General of the party and the chairman of the party. After we got through with that, but now you get through this bombshell without naming names or citing the portion of the CPP Hallelujah, Praise the Lord document, the framework document.
Well,
The other day, a fortnight ago, Nyonblee Karnga said all blame is shifted on the former chair of the CPP, Alexander Benedict Cummings. The alteration. What is this noise about?
so let me state for the record, our goal is to ensure that we have the CPP remain intact so that it can carry on the aspiration of the Liberian people. But it's sad. I mean, it's extremely sad to see that people allow politics to overwhelm them in a way that, to some extent, they'll even challenge the integrity that is needed in this process. It is extremely sad because the Liberians are completely yearning for this vehicle to unseat this. They have embraced it. I mean, evidenced by the results of the senatorial elections last year. And so you find every Liberians now, there are pockets of them in corners that are very disappointed as to our actions. And all this is caused because there are some who think that they can manipulate this process. There are others who are afraid of perhaps the primary process, which is in fact democratic. And there are others who are just hell bent on mischief. But by and large, we are more good people in the CPP than bad. And so we will prevail. Expression on any one of the political. We shouldn't be doing this. Nothing was changed. There was no alteration done illegally by anybody. And it's just unfortunate that you would try to dampen the impeccable records that Mr. Cummings has because of politics. This is it's quite unfortunate. Nothing happened. Look,
Nothing happened.
Max, if something has happened,
Nyonblee said, I'm quoting her, that something was tampered with the structure and contents of the framework document.
that is a lie. It's not true. I mean, it's so far from the truth.
Nyonblee told a lie, you think?
Well, listen, because my own upbringing, I wouldn't be that verbose with my, with the adjective I would use on a lady and my senator like that. But I can tell you that those comments were not truthful because If somebody dropped the ball here and forgot about something, we can refresh the memory. When this framework document was signed on May 19th,
May 19th.
by all the political leaders via Zoom. And the reason I'm so knowledgeable of this, because if you look in the framework agreement, you will see that I co-chaired the drafting of it, and I chaired the review and validation committee that was tasked with this almost for about a year. All during the COVID period, we were working using Zoom, to meet so that after the COVID subside, at least we will have something for the Liberian people. That was a commitment that we made, and we carried out. Wonderful people across the aisles in different political parties, Lafayette Giddens, Theodore Kobangalu, Mo Ali, Mariah Yakula, Aloysius To, the Afonso Bella, the whole nine, all of the crew, Reverend Scepter, all of us, even Tilia later joined representing ALP. And I chaired those sections for all those periods. And we came up with a document and presented to them on the 19th of May. I mean, quite before that, and they signed via Zoom. So Senator Lawrence was in Basel, I believe, signing the document. Mr. Cummings was on 15th Street at his towers, the Sabbath Suites. Honorable Ure was in Carriageburg, and Ambassador Boyka was in Riyadh. So after they signed the documents, Mo Ali with a mandate to go around and collect those
documents where the signatures were not on one page.
No.
They were not on one page.
No, they were.
Nyonblee said, I'm quoting Nyonblee. Nyonblee said there's a page
She may
on
have
the
forgotten.
document. What do you mean she must have forgotten? I'm telling you what it is. She said there's one page, and that page was detached, was removed.
That is so far from the truth, and it's just sad. And I'm not going, as a lawyer, I will not speculate that somebody is doing something deliberate, but it's unfortunate that that's what they're doing, and any logical person at this point will conclude that this is deliberate, a diabolic attempt to besmear someone's character because of the chances.
Why would somebody want to besmear Cummings' character? Why does it benefit them? Why you think they're afraid? Why must they tarnish his reputation when why they saying of Florida is 95?
But because you have to look at motive here. Because Mr. Cummings is focused and bent on following this process to the logical conclusion, that is going to a VP as and then onto a primary. He is not endorsing a coronation of any candidate, and therefore will not go in and as a matter of a compliment, accept a second feeder, but he wants the process to carry out. It is beginning to be a challenge, an obstacle for others. And so they might decide now, let's throw in a lot of mud, let's chunk the kitchen sink at him, let's chunk everything.
But they're chunking the kitchen sink because Cummings says he doesn't want to be vice president. That should give them all the liberty, all the chances, all the happiness in the world. Oh, he's out of the equation. He's not going to be vice president. We want to be vice president. Why should they concord lies?
Let me tell you, I mean, all of us in the CPP knows that they are all great people, but they all know that Mr. Cummings is an invaluable person to keep. So if you talk to those who don't even want him to be on the top of the ticket, they will say they want him to be the vice president. So even if you talk to his competitor, he will prefer him to be the vice. So it means that he has something to offer, okay? And I'm not suggesting that the others don't have it, but he's well suited at this moment. He brings a lot to the table. His economic skills, his managerial skills, the prowess, the connections out there. He can let things happen. And this is a man on a mission. He's focused and he's very organized. I've worked with many persons in this country. The very organized person you're talking about. He doesn't easily drop the ball. So because he wants to see this thing through, his orientation over the years, he's a person who would like to end things logically. And so he wants the process to play out. Others don't want the process to play out for whatever reason it is.
If you get, I'm going to the nitty gritty and the intent. Your
Yeah.
lawyer said you must have reason, you must have intent.
It's
for
an
that.
opportunity, and then there must be a motive.
There must be no motive. That's what it is. So I'm asking you, who does it benefit if comedy is mischaracterized?
Well, look, it will benefit.
Nyonblee,
Of course.
does she want to be vice president?
Of course.
Would
we're
it
hearing
benefit
that.
Benina?
Of course.
How
we're
will
hearing
two of
that.
them suddenly become strange bedfellows, are the same objective? How would they ever jive?
But the goal is let's attack somebody who even if you talk to Ambassador Boyka one-on-one, he would prefer to have a person like Cummings. I mean,
So Boyka doesn't want either one of them.
I don't think he would prefer that.
So what are they fighting about?
So there's reasons to be fighting, because this is a man who have established himself in a way that is invaluable to a ticket. So even his competitors will want him on the ticket, only that they don't want him at the first tier. And he is saying, let's go and play this out to a logical conclusion and allow the free hand and the free will as required by the framework document for the one who will become the standard bearer to have that free hand to choose.
I will turn you over to
it's not a coronation.
La Bendy, but you are a lawyer, so I want you to given the enlightenment of the commission of a crime and the motives of the crime. If coming date, and I use the word carefully, date alter, what is the material benefit?
Right.
Well, you have to ask yourself, because these are all rules. Whatever someone alters has to be applicable to all of the persons. No one can pinpoint any particular clause that has been altered, least to say it's been altered and a use coming an advantage. They wouldn't
That is
say,
not?
because there is
If
not,
it is altered, there's no material benefit in that.
so you let our detractors show first which clause was altered,
What clause was altered?
and then I would dare say show how does it benefit Mr. Cummings, because this is a set of rules that applies to everyone in the room. So if you lower the bar is lower for everyone. If you increase the bar, it will be increased for everyone. So what peculiar advantage does it offer Cummings? Why would he want to do such a thing? This is not even in his nature. This is not in his nature. His focus, he's determined on his goals, and he wants this to reach a logical conclusion. And that is his right.
So there are no material benefits.
There's no
It doesn't put him at an advantageous position.
Not at all. But let alone, I mean, there is no clause that has been altered. None. The changes that were made were authorized.
Why you want me to believe you?
But because,
Why
listen,
you want me to believe you?
because our naysayers cannot point to any clause that has been changed. Because I serve.
Cummings, Nyonblee said the structures and procedure were altered.
Listen, my friend.
The contents and procedures
Let me put
and
this
structure were altered.
Let me put this into proper perspective. On the 19th, when this document was signed via Zoom and released to the public, there was a public outcry about a clause.
That the employment clause.
Yes.
I read that employment clause and we
And
made noise about that.
therefore, the political leaders and executive committee came together quickly and said that, oh no, the CPP
want to discriminate all Liberians because they're not members of the CPP.
So your committee, Gould, your committee, and the rest of y'all, Giddings, all of y'all, it did well. But let's send it to some independent lawyers so that they can look it over, give a third eye, if you would, and then come back to us so that when we finally file, we have a foolproof, a tight document that will withstand all of the complexities of the Liberian political spectrum. Right? And so because of that, it was sent to the lawyers. When we sent it to the lawyers reviewed it, and the lawyers, before the review, they asked that the chairperson of the review and validation committee, which was myself, to give them context of all of the clauses, reasons behind some of those clauses that were in there.
You chair the review and validation committee of the CPP?
Of the CPP, I was a co-chair on the committee that drafted this document.
And you're the legal advisor to Mr. Alexander Cummings?
Yes, all of the political parties had.
Did they have their representatives there?
Okay, all of the political parties have representatives. We are progenitors of the CPP.
But being a chair of the validation committee doesn't give you a unilateral, right.
Advantage.
In fact, my colleagues will call from the other parties to be truthful that I didn't even exercise voting right, which I had, but I didn't even exercise. And whenever there were contentious issues that affected because we had a rule that one dissent is a no-go for us. That's why we took almost a year.
How impartial was the process, the validation process?
So if you allow me to provide,
go ahead.
You will understand. So the political parties themselves, not the ANC, made me chair, asked that I chair because they had their own reasons. I have been chairman of another political party, has been experienced and, with some legal knowledge and so forth.
Right.
And they thought that I was one of the guys that they could work with. So as the head of ANC's delegation, they said, no, we want Gould to chair the meetings. So I started to chair because of that responsibility and the confidence.
Did you lobby to chair?
No, we didn't lobby. It was just given to us. So because of that responsibility and the confidence reposed in me, ANC suffered a lot during the process because I had to shut them down many times to appease my colleagues because they reposed a lot of confidence in me. There were times I would shut Mariah's mic off. I was extremely liberal with the others, but harsh on the ANC folks. Many times.
What for?
Because I wanted this to work. And because I wanted this to work, and I was from the ANC and chairing, so I had to bend over backwards to show that I will be fair and neutral and objective. And so the ANC suffered. Sometimes that happens. If you're principal in a school and you have your child there, you whip your child a lot to just show some example.
Signal, yes.
So the ANC suffer a lot. And on issues where I thought they held up the process because we had a rule, if there's one dissent from the political parties, there will be no go on the line item that we had. So if ANC held it out and the other parties were strong on it and they were pushing some argument, I, as the delegation head from the ANC, even though I was chairing, I would shut the ANC down and say, listen, we concede on this and we'll move. So much to the dislike of my colleagues. But listen, Mr. Cummings had confidence in me. The other political parties had confidence in me. And we're not prepared to let the CPP fail because we had some
disagreement.
A mindset of some issues. So the ANC suffered a lot. Even the VPS that were proposed by the ANC, we had to shoot that down. We shut that down so that the process will live because we stalled for more than 2-3 weeks on that. So we shut it down so that the process will live on. It was a hard call.
Let me ask you this question. The Nyonblee things were changed by content and structure. I'm interested in knowing that this document that Nyonblee refers to as being criminally, maliciously, intentionally altered. Whether the same document filed to NEG that gave you people this sort of opportunity to contest in the senatorial elections?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And it's coming more than 1 year after that happened. But let me
land because I don't want to lose my frame of thought. If this document as ascertained by the chair of the CPP has been fraudulently done, criminally done, doesn't that question the legitimacy of your winning as senators on the CPP ticket? Can we then revise that? Can we then illegitimize you because you ran on fraudulent documentation of the filing of the document to NEC?
Well, so That is another school of thought.
No, I'm asking you.
Another set
If
of
as
arguments.
claimed by the chair that it was fraudulently done.
But it wasn't fraudulently.
No, the chair said that it was fraudulently done, including the chair. The names were sent to NEC as the contestant from the CPP.
So-
if this was fraudulently
So
proved,
what
then-
she should do, I would think, if you want to have a moral voice
Mhm.
and say that something was fraudulently done
Mhm.
and they elected you,
and that fraudulent,
you
I
should
mean,
resign your seat and say, let me get a document that is not fraudulently done, so I'll go and have an election on that. If you come in seeking equity, you come with clean hands.
Yeah. But in addition to that, who were the representative of the Liberty Party during this validation process?
Well, the Liberty Party had they had Rookie, they had Musa Bilete, Rookie Barry.
Musa Bilete?
Musa
They have
Bilete, who was
Musa
also
Bilete.
accused of tampering
of
with
temporary document, according
Musa
to
Bilete was there. Rookie Barry was there. The Liberty had Augustus Frederick. He was also there. We did a good piece of job.
and they got the blessings of their political leader,
Of
Nyonblee
course,
Karnga-Lawrence,
other
to
than that,
represent.
Of course.
Right.
But when this document went back to the lawyers, the lawyer asked that we provide them the background, the rationale or ratio decidendi in law, you would say, as to why.
That's Latin.
Yes, as to why a particular, law is being sought or enshrined in the document. And so the lawyers were particularly concerned that the CPP framework, with all of the painstaking time we took to put it together, was so loose that anybody could walk away. And the lawyers were like, what? This is what it did. This is what they said, no, there has not authorized. Then we will do our recommendations, and then you take it back to. So we'll take it back to the party. We say fine. So anything you have issues with, and they listed, I think 11 issues that they had, and then there were some things where a particular article was not relating to the topic. So then the lawyers did that.
in
So
the presence of the various representatives.
Yeah, in the presence, because all approve of this legal team. That was, look, they probably don't like me to say this, but I'll do it because they were doing a legal piece of job. It was not political in nature. It was Councillor Benedict Sano, Attorney Kofi Woods, Councillor Finlay Kanga on this. There's an attorney called Saji Kamara, myself, and I hope I'm not forgetting someone else. Benedict Sano.
I know Kofi
Finlay
Woods personally.
Kanga, they teach at the law school. Finlay has worked with the UN section for long. Professor Sano is a very straight kind of individual. You ask any student at the law school, they will vouch for his character. Kofi Woods has been on his human rights advocacy for years. And then so the attorneys were just there. I was just there to say, listen, the background for which we put this there was this. They will argue, they will debate and so forth, and they'll come up with something. When they would derive a content change, we said no, jot it down, let it be recommendation. Where it was just structural changes or edits for the language, or get the content but put it in strong legal words instead of using will, use, shall, and stuff like that, then they made those changes. But we still had to red flag them. We did it in track changes, so they will remain in red so the parties will see. And it was constantly reviewed. At the end of the day, they sent that to Mr. Cummins on the 22nd, I believe. They sent it to him on the 22nd of June. And the very next day, Mr. Cummins called a meeting at the Liberty Party office. The lawyers agreed to show up. And I forgot a lawyer, Kabina Janin. He was on it. In fact, he was adamant in that meeting, I recall. All of them shared a view, but he was much more forceful on the loose nature of which the alliance was formed, and anybody could
walk out.
Yes. So they found a way to tighten it out. The finances, they had issues with the finances. They wanted us to tighten it out. We had a clause initially that you could expel if you're not making your financial obligations. The lawyer said no. They wanted this thing to stay together, so you will lose some basic rights, but you should not be expelled. So they came back, and the Karnga-Lawrence were there, Senator. Any advantage to any particular person, legally sound. We made a decision, took a vote, and decided we will accept those changes. Then the lawyer says it's not sufficient. We want a resolution from all of you to come back. It was based on that Mr. Kumis's chair sent a mandate with a timeline to the parties. So when the senatorial elections were coming up, he kept reminding them. So he reminded them via WhatsApp. And the political parties, even though some of them missed our deadline, but we had a time enough to register the alliance and then go ahead. So it is the version that came from the lawyers, approved by the parties, and backed by the resolutions that was filed with NEC. So let me
So
tell
all
you,
the political parties have the resolution from the lawyers?
all of the parties signed. You had to go back to the executive committee to have a meeting within that week. I remember the ALP had a Wednesday meeting. I remember vividly because we were to have a CPP meeting. They asked us that they will have a meeting and they passed the resolution. It was the resolution that we used to file this document with NAC. I mean, this is a fact. This is just a fact. No one can call to dispute this. For folks to be using the May 19 document against the one that was filed to NEC is disingenuous. You have to use the version from the lawyers that were approved by the parties.
Filed to NEC.
Filed to NEC, because it's the same exact one. But let me tell you something, T-Max. I'm a human. When this happened, I said to myself, what? Since this is being alleged on our watch, I will do my homework to make sure, because we don't want any problem. As progenitors of the CPP, we want this to work. And so I choose my choice of words carefully because we still want this to work. It seemed like a union with a woman or a husband in the house and you got misunderstanding, but you still want the marriage to go on. So we're very careful. Those of us who, risk family time to put this together, we're passionate about this, compassionate about it, and want it to work. So I said, wait a minute. I had a conversation with Aloysius Stowe. You were Secretary General when this thing was signed. Did you send the exact copies from the lawyers? He said, on my honor, I did. I said, this is not enough. So I got a copy that was sent to the lawyers, to NEC, compared with the copy that I had from that committee, because I was privileged on the committee with the lawyers.
All right.
I look at it versus the copies that were sent to all the political parties. Not a single line is changed. Not one letter is changed.
Except for the one that you all agree on.
Of course, the lawyers did
The
that.
lawyers.
We agree on it. Not a single line is changed. So to deceive the public, they go back to the May 19 Zoom signed document and compare it to the document filed by NEC. This is disingenuous. The document,
And the document filed with NEC, approved and prepared by the lawyers.
backed by resolutions.
Backed by resolution.
Yes. And the lawyers will, the lawyers don't want to get into the politics of all of this. But because of their own integrity, they will speak out. This is the fact. Nothing was changed.
So let me ask you this step before Labani. Look, you seem to be the problem child in this marriage. Why you want to stay there? Why doesn't the ANC leave this CPP and let CPP run on 3 legs?
First of all, we're not no problem child. When you have your brothers and sisters in the house and you are in the house, not because one of the sons or daughter in the house is troublesome or creating problems in the house, then the father will put that person out and say, you're no longer my child. You will probably beat that child.
Why don't you leave the CPP?
Because this is the creation of the Liberian people. This is what they wanted after the 2017 elections. They said, come together. The call was more loud during 2018. And to give us assurances, they said, if you come together, we will support you. And in the senatorial elections, because someone is trying to be.
But your members are
disingenuous.
different about you. I don't know for what reason. Then if I'm in an organization, I do the best I can for the organization to survive. And my friends in the organization are so suspicious about me. I got no place there.
If Martin Luther King had just listened to the naysayers at the time, America would not have the kind of civil liberties now to that nation that it has
Your
now.
disagreement plays to the huge advantage of CPP. I mean, CDC, and CDC going to run
They got
on
troubles.
wheels to
They
go.
got troubles in the house themselves. The point there is, if you make the confusion early, which is not a good thing,
Mhm.
but you can sort it out and you come back together. Sometimes you're stronger. You realize that you all need each other. Suppose you're traveling on sea and you're in a boat and you're there and something happened, you have confusion, but you need each other. You can't throw any one person overboard, because if you throw that person, you need him to paddle the canoe. So what you do, you have to learn to tolerate each other and cooperate. So we're not going anywhere, because this is a process. Folks, don't look. I know some people getting feverish and they're jittery about the convention process, and all this rumor about things will happen for the convention. So you heard about block voting and all of that. No matter how hard the bill go frown their face, my friend, before the holiday, we're going to cook it for the holiday.
I tell you, but I want to take it from your boat, sailing on a boat scenario. I want to bring you on shore.
Yeah.
What is happening now? I see the CPP, 4 political parties. Let me consider that there are 4 brothers. They're going to get married to one woman, and that woman is Liberia.
Yeah.
Whoever wears the ring, all of us, we are still husbands to that particular woman.
Yeah.
So the misbegotten comments, remarks you people make against each other, it plays negatively against you. Now,
against the CPP.
Against the CPP. Somebody from the Liberty Party says this about ANC. Somebody from the ANC says this about the person in ALP, and all of these things, all of your political analysts, all describing, other political leaders differently. How do you then come back to Liberian people to convince them that you are a group of mature people, organized and ready to lead this country? Take it from this level. After all, we have heard that the ANC is a troublesome child. The UP says, no, we cannot take this, because I have served as vice president before. I know that when you're vice president, you don't have much right. Then the ANC is saying, no, we cannot take the vice president position, because I cannot take it. If I take it, what I want to do for Liberia, I cannot do it. Where do you all sit with this? Since you played the validation role, you were chairman of the validation committee, and you had to shoot your own people in the leg in order to ensure that you play a neutral role. How do you see this now? Do you still have the fears in the Liberian people?
Well, look, you have to understand.
Do you still feel that you're formidable against George?
Extremely formidable, because look, I mean, our opponents are not even doing better. So, I mean, if you just oppose the 2 groups and put them on the scale, you will see that the Liberian people still lean with
2
the
groups.
CPP.
What are the 2 groups?
The CPP and the CDC. You will find out that the Liberian people
CDC is in the driver's seat. You want the driver's seat, and you're behaving like kids.
Right.
That's what the problem is.
No,
right.
I won't accept that characterization. No matter how difficult the crisis, the challenges.
You have a press conference. You make a vow to each other. Look, we're having this thing. If there are any understanding of
if Mima didn't break us,
listen to me.
We're not breaking.
I'm dangerous when I'm in. So let my wrath descend on you. So,
okay.
So let me. Our problem. So none of us should go public as to what happened in the dark. The next day you went public. So why should I give my vote?
And
why should I give my vote?
The ANC will not violate that. It's always been, we're always, if you notice in this crisis, we're always reacting, because we are true to the values, the documents, the true intent of it. So you will notice that we're reacting. Most times to the disadvantage of our base, but because we respect the letter and the intent of this document, we have to be reacting, and it's quite unfortunate. I think it's about time now that our colleagues will see that the Liberian people truly depend on this and stop all the politics and the politicking, so that we'll get back to serious business. because ultimately
Mhm.
the fact that if we don't reach consensus and we have to go to convention, it won't go away. We'll have to do this.
Liberian
So
people,
no matter how you dance around it, you argue.
the referee,
So
I will
we
take my break.
ultimately will have to do
Julian will
this.
take the first break.
So we may as well just make
The
peace
referee in this
and see if
in
we
this
can find
arrangement
consensus.
is what comes out of the lawyers, because the chair of the CPP said these documents would have been sent to the lawyers for review and they gave us recommendation from their revision. With this, with the lawyers that was asked to do the verification and the review of the document
And the resolution.
on the
as well.
resolution, where they have a press conference to tell her Cummings did it, or Nyonblee did lie, or Banana Ure was imagining as nothing happened.
What the lawyers will say, we did these changes and these are the changes we did. So the lawyers changes that they did
Agreed by all parties.
agreed by all the parties. I mean, there's no.
The
Mr.
lawyer will
Ures
show-
is on tape with the rest of his colleagues saying that we approve the changes done by the lawyers. He's on record.
It's on record on that.
He's on record for that.
He admitted to that. There was no
Of course, but
foul
there's
play.
no dispute about
But what is this thing coming from? If according to you, you read admitted to the fairness of the
it's all
process.
politics. And
Politics.
They think they can play politics like that.
But T-Max, one thing, Councillor Gould, you need to take into consideration. I think
Attorney
there's
Gould.
Attorney Gould. I think there's some level of Liberian people that they are holding everything against you. You have an organization of people who want to lead
Versus
the
the
country.
government that is
Well, that
misruling.
is left with the people to decide.
Of
Now,
the-
you are a group of people who are outside. You want to get in. You want to lead them. You're showing them distrust. Somebody doesn't even trust this person. How can you people come together in one house and we entrust you with the country? These
But-
are questions that people will start to ask
Look,
at this
and they're
point.
legitimate questions. But look, to answer it, there are many times who have a family, well, a wife or husband, that can tell us that they never had confusion.
No, wife
And yet, wait a minute.
No.
Let me learn my knowledge. I'm making this
wife
simple.
wife and husband and children. These are inexcusable tie, inextricable tie to one another. This is politics.
Survivability will determine that we have no other choice but to listen to the mandate of the Liberian people, which is to stick together. And ultimately,
And you're not
we do-
sticking
and
together.
all of this
With
is
ulterior
happening.
motives.
All of this is happening. No one comes to politics without a motive. You could be doing church service or you go to the mosque to win souls. Even there, they have a motive to win souls. So, I mean, having a motive is not a bad thing. It is what is the motive becomes the things that
Could
you
we
can
break
question.
this CPP apart? Is not worth our while. Break it
Th-
apart.
This
Let people go their separate ways.
this
and
is
then-
not the ideal outcome, okay? But I can tell you for a fact, if someone will cause the chaos and the Liberian people see this, and the rest of us remain with the CPP, they will show
No,
the
no,
support.
CPP is gone.
No, CPP is not gone. CPP was registered, and the CPP will lose its legitimacy 6 months after 2023. It is a party incorporated.
Do you agree to
registered.
that document too? That
Of-
after
Well, it's
the-
the same document that elected those senators. So you see the
they
contradiction?
were fraudulently elected.
Fraudulent document, fraudulent.
But the document
fraudulent,
was-
fraudulent leaders.
No,
fraudulent senators.
That's
the
unfair.
chairperson reads without comprehension.
They made
in-
they made a mistake. I think what they did was somebody hurriedly. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. I think somebody hurriedly took the May 19 document and just opposed it against.
How you people can read
They
without
want-
without
understanding?
comprehension.
Well, but
and they want to lead a nation.
it's-
On the leader nation.
it's
Okay, let's-
unfair. It's
Okay,
it's quite unfortunate. but that's what happened.
producers are
They look
signaling
at
to us
the May 19
that we need to
document.
take the second break. So let's take the second break.
Our manager can say the better money.
Hey man, sorry old man, but you can really that small thing about you.
Let's see everything that a new pin. I just want to buy my credit data for the week.
Hey man, you worry for nothing. Just go get yourself a new thing. You'll be surprised with the kind of new game that come with it.
My old man, they are still here talking plenty.
Yes, get a new SIM card for only 50 cents and you'll receive free 200 megabytes, valid for 7 days, and free 50 minutes on net credit, valid for 7 days. Now, all new customers acquiring a new SIM card will be able to use it right away. Enjoy rapid communication with friends and loved ones. We take pride in bringing you closer to what matters the most.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
Here we go. I am done transferring money from my account to my phone, and I didn't forget to purchase some data for both of us.
How did you manage to finish the process so fast?
Ma, I'm using the new app there. With just one tap, I see all I want to do, making transaction quick and easy for me.
You mean it easy and I only have to download the app?
Yes, so ma. And by the way, the item you took, I own me, Marco. I am paying using the same app. My transaction on the screen right in front of me.
No need to go through a long, tedious process to transact. Now, with one single tap, you find all options to complete your transactions. Download the Orange Money app from Play Store and the iPhone App Store and start enjoying. Easy like 1, 2, 3.
Brings you closer.
Excuse me, Papa, give me one bottle of wine. There's another plate of barbecue chicken and...
Wait up to wait 1 minute. Go come back. My lollipop, I know I told you to relax and enjoy. But sorry, I just checked and don't have enough cash.
Oh, man. Are you worried there? Jlateh, I got cash on my phone. You will scan and pay. But I want my money back as soon as you get home.
No problem, dear. But explain to me some more. Scan and pay?
Yes. With money in your Orange Money wallet, you can now scan and pay using QR codes. Check with your favorite merchants. Don't be left behind. To pay, simply download and open the Orange Money Africa app, select Scan It, and scan. Now payment is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with Orange Money QR codes.
Brings you closer to what matters.
Orange.
Hello, your number one 100% Liberian-owned professional garage and auto parts dealer, Uptown Garage, is still around and going stronger and getting better. Yes, Uptown Garage at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets, after 20 years in the business, has a new spare parts store known as Uptown Supply. You don't have to order spare parts from overseas. You can purchase brand new spare parts for your car from us. No more used parts. For original spark plug from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and air to get your car working perfectly, come to us. Uptown Garage has a branch at Rehab that you can also count on. We have a diagnoser that can find and we fix any problem on your car. With our sophisticated equipment, we give 1 month warranty. We provide a tow truck free of charge if it's our garage that will work on your car, but we can tow your car anywhere for a fee. Uptown Garage has been around for 20 years now, providing reliable, efficient, and professional services and durable auto parts for your car. At Uptown Garage head office on 0777 55 3317 0886 55 3317 or at our rehab branch on 0770 90 2865. Our email address is uptowngarage2014@gmail.com. Uptown Garage, always the best. Forget the rest.
50-50 on Sky 107. My special studio guest is Antonin Oratio Gould. He is the political advisor to the political leader of the ANC, and we are addressing the topic, what is the noise about framework agreement alterations? Did Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence, chair of the CPP, tell a lie? Why should I believe you? Gould is our special studio guest. Segment 2, the lines are open for your participation. Call us on those numbers on 0777 107. You'll be live on 50-50 on Sky 107. The numbers again are 0777 107 or 0777 221 223. You'll be live from 50-50 on Sky 107. While we're waiting for the call, can I continue with do we have another call on the line, or can I start? Okay, let's look at this. With you people stay, B, and let me go back to my with Cummings be running. In spite of the noise, this accusation will be running as SB, standard bearer of the CPP.
Of course, this is all scare tactics. Why shouldn't he run? Unless we strike a consensus agreement, of course, Kumi should run, and he will be running. I mean, this is all scare tactics. Should you scare him into submission? No. I mean, this is a right. This is what we signed up for, to this process. And Kumi has continued to maintain that in the unlikely event that he is not the winner of this process, he will support 100% whoever becomes the elected standard bearer. And that is why some of our colleagues don't want. Maybe they feel that he has some influence, he has some connections. I hear others talking about he has money. What does it have to do with convention where you sell ideas? Where you got to worry about, all of that. You only sell ideas. That's why our colleagues are saying, let's vote by resolution, 2 block voting.
Yeah, what is your opinion on block voting?
It's all crazy. It's just because of fear.
Define for us what they call block voting.
They want all 310 delegates, their votes and their rights to be given to one person who will go and cast, because they don't.
It's undemocratic. You can't do that.
But they fear that the delegates could intermingle with other aspirants and could disappoint them.
They don't trust their own.
Of course, and this is sad. In democracy, you don't do that. There's no place for it today, tomorrow, or ever. I mean, people have to exercise that right. So it's a right to influence them. They believe you, and then they have to act.
Do you have the time to do the healing after all this rigmarole?
Well, we're in 2021, this is not personal. It shouldn't be personal, even though others are taking it a bit personal. But from the ANC standpoint, it's all not personal.
Is the ANC comfortable looking in the face and the eyes of Nyonblee and Benina? You have all this mountain of accusation to comfortably sit down around the table and discuss the goodness of the CPP in particular, and the welfare and the well-being of Liberian people in general.
But if warlords could meet up in Ghana and sit comfortably and try to find solution, whatever political parties are on
okay.
Yes. So we're very comfortable. It's nothing personal from the ANC standpoint. Mr. Cummings is just following the law.
Okay, let's go to the line. I'm hearing noises. Let's go to the line to talk to our first caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Jlateh.
Good morning, my brother. What's your name and where you calling me from?
Good morning to Mr. Gould. My name is Martin. I'm calling from Shama.
Go ahead, Martin.
Yes. I want to tell Mr. Gould, thank you. I've gone to my mother, the chairman, Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence. They should stop doing this thing here. We the supporter of the CPD, they're making us shame outside the way we can make them more. We shall document our coming change and which one is a coming place that let us tell we the Liberian people. So we don't want to go to CDC. But the confusing on the change document, let us tell the one the man take from there and they want the place that let us tell then we were noting that Mr. Cummings do wrong. But for now the confusion of Mr. Jlateh.
Nyonblee said the contents and structure of the document was changed.
So which one? That's what he's asking. They will tell you nothing.
Thank you very much. Call me on that number on 07777 You'll be live from 5050 on Sky 107. Our special studio guest is Oratio Gould. Anthony Oratio Gould is the political advisor to the political leader of the ANC, Alexander Benedict Cummings. Do we have another caller on line 2? The caller is not ready here. You say you still have the time to heal the division, the mistrust, and this sort of dangerous accusation. People can trust one another, and people are apprehensive of one another. And according to you, people read without understanding contents and context. Let's go back to the line to talk to our next caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
My brother, what's your name and where you calling me from?
Well, my name is Jesse Blood. Committee agenda, and I call you from my campus, the EM Douglas T School of Medicine.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just listened to Anthony Oratio Gould, and let me say thumbs up to him for the much more clarity in regards to this whole alteration issues.
Do you believe?
But there are a few questions.
Do you believe Gould?
There are a few questions for which I'm lately jittering with and actually mad with myself.
You see, in Liberia, Mr. Jlateh, it is established that we are a loose and regular stock of people taking to be a serious-minded politician. The fact that Mr. Kumi is more decent and more unique in his own style, our people have not really decoded that. So they try to play on his diplomacy. Fast forward, I want Mr. Gould in there to go to the point on these three questions. One, I will let Mr. Gould to tell us. It is true that Nyonblee Karnga tenure as chairperson has elapsed? If yes, what legal ground does you stand to render someone guilty? That's one. Two, it is not established in law that the accuser, the burden of proof lies on the accuser. If yes, also, did the folks from ALP and UA went to the committee to provide their proof for which they profess that Mr. Cummings author or the ANC other document? And then lastly, if they did, was Mr. Cummings or the ANC ever called in for questioning?
Thank you very much.
The final question to take my lead, just 10 seconds, Mr. Jlateh, is I've been told from reading of some of the local data, it is established that the National Advisory Council of the CPP is the highest decision-making body, for which they met at Berekasa, and there was agreement for after they received the framework document that they were going to turn over to the lawyers. I want to know if that document has been turned over to the lawyer, and if so, have the lawyer make any projection for before Nyonblee came up with a statement? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Three things he said. Nyonblee for Nyonblee tenure of office has elapsed. What does she stay doing there? The second one was that in court, in the axiom of the court, the guy who accuses must provide proof. Three, what did he say?
Was coming calling. Was the ANC or Cummings
calling to be confronted? Yeah, to be confronted with the alleged documents. That
and did the lawyers make?
Did the lawyers make any changes in that? So let's go back to the line. Talk to our next caller. Good morning.
Thank you, T-Max.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, T-Max.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Emmanuel P. Konuti, and I call you from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau into the community this morning. Well, I listened to your guest, T-Max, and all I can say is that what is happening within the CPP, I think it clearly speaks volume to lack of leadership, and it demonstrates that the CPP is actually unprepared to.
My man, I will cut you off. You're not asking the man based on what he just said. What does CPP leadership is not what I'm discussing. You understand me? I know where you're calling from. It doesn't matter to me, but I want you to deal with the content of what we're discussing. Thank you very much. Let's go back to line 5. Talk to our next caller. Good morning.
Yeah, T-Max. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Kwadu Sharif. I am calling in from Jersey this morning.
Go ahead.
Yes, T-Max. You know, like I think the first caller said, these people are confusing us. And let me tell those guys in the CPD. For me, first when I saw Cummings, I didn't like Cummings. I'm gonna be honest. But sometimes when you're doing stuff, you gotta be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
I understand this is politics. But if they're not mindful, they're going to make Cummings. In fact, for me, I like Cummings now because of all what is going on. Because I don't like people to indict somebody based on self-interest or based on something or somebody just waking up to make any allegation. You accuse this man for altering a document. Now, we, the Liberian people, we want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You in the office there, you want to know the truth. You want to know what is happening. Have Nyonblee Karnga ever called you, T-Max, and give you, evidence that, yes, indeed, this is why Cummings changed? You are in dilemma. If I'm sorry to say that, but you are confused as well. Everybody confused. Nyonblee said the altercation took place. where did it took place? We're not stupid out here. If you play your politics, not to destroy the Liberian people. We all came together to make the CPP to whole. How can people come out and just make allegation with no proof, none at all, and confuse the entire country? Tima, this is really unfair, and I'm gonna end with this. If they're not mindful, they think they're gonna be hurting Kumis, but they're gonna be hurting themselves instead of Kumis. Let's be honest. Thank you, T-Max.
Thank you very much. Call me on that number on 07777 You'll be live on 5050 on Sky 107. Our special studio guest is Anthony Oratio Gould. He's the political advisor to the political leader, ABC of the ANC. Let's go back to line 5. Talk to our next caller. Good morning.
Good morning, T-Man.
Good morning, my brother. What's your name, please?
I'm Clarence K. from Ghana.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks so much. Vasa is with you in the office there. I mean, in the studio. I want to ask him one question. When the post Mr. Kumi put on thread yesterday, he was appealing what happened with the document. He was appealing on behalf of himself and the ANC party. But my question to the councillor is this: why he quickly pulled down that post and put another post there, denying that he was not here? Let me please answer that question for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Call me on that number on 07777 107. You'll be live from 5050 on Sky 107. Let's go back to line 2. Okay, that's the producers have a clip they want to play. So let's listen to that clip.
The lawyers did do an amendment of the framework document, and they did it under our advice and consent. The amended copy, we have copies of. The lawyers did do an amendment of the framework document, and they did it under our advice and consent. The amended copy, we have copies of.
Let me elaborate on that. I think, Lamedi, what are you reading? Is that the voice of?
Yeah, that is the voice. I just received that particular clip. It's actually a video, so we're going to play the audio right now. I just received it from an inside source. That is a recording of Benana years of video, and I have it. I'm watching him.
You say you received the amendment?
He's sitting with the current chairperson, Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence. Here's the video that Julius just played. He's acknowledging that the amendment that were made within the framework document were done based on the advice. And
the amendment made by the lawyers.
Done based on the advice, and copies of the amended version
was
in their possession. All of the political leaders. Here is Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence sitting in the video, and Mr. Benana Yure. So where is this noise coming from?
It's all politics, man. And we will spend all our time to put this thing together. We will try to step up to ensure that it doesn't, go down the drain.
I'm sure
this is all politics, all of the amendments were done with the consent of the political parties.
He admitted that.
So that's not in dispute. And those amendments were sent back, was approved before it was filed. Not a single letter was changed in the framework document that was filed between the lawyers and the one to neck. It's the exact same document.
Thank you very much. Let's take our last break. But I wanted Mr. Gould to comment before we take that break. So the questions that I sent to you, I want you to please address them.
Well, look, Martin from Fiamma asks, what was changed? Martin, is a good question. We'll continue to ask the question. Our accusers would not say what was changed because there was nothing that was changed. The amendments were made by the lawyers and approved by the parties. What Senator Nyonblee Karnga expired. That was asked by the gentleman from AME, Dr. Yeti. Yes, the tenure have expired. And so it's a question of legitimacy. Moving on now, we're trying to resolve that quickly. I'm told Ambassador Boyka will be taking over.
It should have been done September 19th.
Of course, but they have their own reasons. This is again a violation of the framework agreement, but this is where we are. This is what we're doing. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. If you're talking about violation, you live up to it. But this is where we are. We have to straighten it out. They provided no proof, sir. The accuser must present proof. In this case, Honorable Ure made some accusations. There were no specific proof provided, but yet the chair ordered an investigation. The investigation came back. The findings are different from the conclusions. And so it begs more questions than answers. Was Cummings invited or the ANC? No. In any situation, we have an adversary system in this country where you face your accuser. Cummings was never calling. The ANC was never calling to give their side. Did the lawyers make the change? Yes, the lawyers made the changes, evidenced by even Mr. Ure's own admission on the video.
Yeah.
They authorized the change. The lawyers made the changes, and it was inserted in the document. They provided resolution before it was filed. The guy from the Veteran Bureau, Emmanuel, says, we lack leadership. No, we don't lack leadership. If you look at the challenges in the CDC government, now you will want to conclude same. I'm sure you will argue otherwise, but because you have some challenge in the CPP, you say we lack leadership. No, we're confronting some hurdles and obstacles. We will surmount them and we'll move on. Sherry from New Jersey is thinking like most Liberians that people are continuing to play politics and nothing, he's confused. Sherry, don't be confused. Nothing was changed by Mr. Cummings or the ANC. That's a fact. I challenge anybody to call on this show to disprove me, to say specifically what was changed in the document, filed with NEC versus what was sent from the lawyers. No one, zero, nip, nobody will call to say otherwise because they know we know the truth. And the gentleman from Garnersville, Clarence, the reason Mr. Cummings gave a statement on Facebook that you talk about is to show leadership. He called for calm. That's what you call for. If you recall the story about the one baby and two mothers in the Bible, the true owner of the baby did not say, kill the baby. They say, if this dispute is so intense and the king wants to split the baby, let the other woman have it. Right. So to show meekness is not a sign of weakness, my friend. It's in fact a sign of strength. Mr. Cummings is a different person. So he had to say to his supporters, step back. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. The CPP is still a vehicle that the Liberian people themselves put together. Slow down a bit. Me and my brothers and sisters can sort this out. That's a sign of leadership. That is not a sign of weakness.
Thank you very much. Let's take our last break, and when we come back, we'll go straight to Studio A to Princess to give us comments from our social media users.
Yo, what kind of message did people sending me again? Oh, who said my SIM not register? I was one of the first people them to buy my SIM from them when they came to Liberia.
Ah, I see. So that all I still only want to challenge time. Now you must do it using your national ID card. After registration, there is a special number you can call.
Yeah. They really make it easier for us.
Yes, we are all required to register our SIM cards by using our national ID cards. But that's not all. Orange Liberia provides a very easy way out for you to self-check your status. Dial *5434# to check a SIM registration status, free of charge. We take pride in bringing you closer to what matters the most. Brings you closer.
Wait now, so you mean to tell me I can send my mom any amount now? The fees now reduced?
Yes, so it can make people happy, yeah?
That's not smart to you.
Send money to your loved ones from wallet to wallet, starting as low as $10 Liberian dollars. Just dial *144# and follow the instructions to begin transacting. Brings you closer to what matters. Orange.
Our manager said the better money.
Hey man, sorry man, but you can run that small thing about you.
Let's see everything that a new thing. I just want to buy my credit data for the week.
Hey man, you worry for nothing. Just go get yourself a new thing. You'll be surprised with the kind of new game that comes in.
My oh man, they are still here talking plenty.
Yes, get a new SIM card for only 50 cents and you'll receive free 200 megabytes, valid for 7 days, and free 50 minutes on net credit, valid for 7 days. Now, all new customers acquiring a new SIM card will be able to use it right away. Enjoy rapid communication with friends and loved ones. We'll take pride in bringing you closer to what matters the most. Brings you closer to what matters.
Hello, your number one 100% Liberian-owned professional garage and auto parts dealer, Uptown Garage, is still around and going stronger and getting better. Yes, Uptown Garage at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets, after 20 years in the business, has a new spare parts store known as Uptown Spare Parts on Broad Street side. You don't have to order spare parts from overseas. You can purchase brand new spare parts for your car from us. No more used parts. For original spark plug from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to us. Uptown Garage has a branch at Rehab that you can also count on. We have a diagnoser that can find and we fix any problem on your car. With our sophisticated equipment, we give 1 month warranty. We provide a tow truck free of charge if it's our garage that will work on your car, or we can tow your car anywhere for a fee. Uptown Garage has been around for 20 years now, providing reliable, efficient, and professional services and durable auto parts for your car. Chat Uptown Garage head office on 0777 553317, 0886 553317, or at our rehab branch on 0770 902865. Our email address is uptowngarage2014@gmail.com. Uptown Garage, always the best. Forget the rest.
The lawyers did of the framework document. The lawyers did do an amendment of the framework document, and they did it under our advice and consent. The amended copy, we have copies of.
Very much. We're back to Studio A, to Princess, to read us comments from our social media users, and the comments you're just about to hear are not comments from Sky Communication, but rather comments from our social media users. Go ahead, Princess.
All right, so I will begin with Kwesi Biko Osi Wallace, who writes, "Good morning, Sky FM family, T-Max and my sister Princess. T-Max, the CPP needs to put their house in order, or else comes 2023, Mr. Weah and his CDC will get free ride, T-Max." Marcia's son writes, Kumis needs to apologize, period. Eric F. Masakwa writes, sad. Mohammed Keita writes, Hussein the Hilton Lajedo writes, good morning, T-Max, and good morning to the resilient citizens of Sano County. I write from my purple corner in Logantown as a purple defender. T-Max, the assertion made by some officials and members from CPP against ANC political leader Edizano Cummings lacks the iota of truth. They self-proclaimed that Cummings had fingered their Booker's document without pointing out any portion of the document that is being tampered with. Those guys from the opposition need to be serious. Is a plug against the ANC leader. We must be aware that Joe Barker wants to use Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence as his running mate. Armstrong Y. Bender writes, my CPP people, I'm asking you all to stop all these planted talking and work together so that come 2023, we can move from this suffering. Oragawe writes, all of you causing the disappointment. ABC said what he did was honorably done. Festus McKean writes, who signs a document via Zoom, Anthony Gould? Sufficient Doa Momo Senior writes, T-Max to solve this noise in the CPP, ANC needs to drop out of the CPP, period. Festus McKean writes, how can you prove your counterpart signed the document as you are insinuating? Josephine Wonder Aladdin writes, this is funny. How can everyone sign on separate sheets? If that was what they did, then Mo Ali wasn't supposed to go around. Clarence Benson writes, Cummings was wrong to have changed part of the document and should apologize to the Liberian people. Kia Kwana writes, T-Max, for heaven's sake, why is ANC going up and down with people they claim to be corrupt and dirty at the same profess to be Mr. Clean? I suggest Mr. Clean to walk alone and present her platform to the voting populace. Mark Baker writes, you people lied. The Liberian people didn't ask any of you people to join as CPP. It's your own greed that puts you people together. Josephine Hammer writes, all the people that is saying Cummings should leave are all people with bad records. Power Gunterwan Yeli II writes, if Cummings believes he can win election in Liberia, let him go on his own. I'm going to take like few more. Erasmus Davis, T-Max, please try to online network. I think you're trying to say you should work on the network. Wilson D. Davis, we will not stop till we make ABC president of Liberia. And this final one, Mankula Empire is Augustine's son. T-Max, with a collaboration of 4, the problems are only from the ANC. ANC plans about CPP is to destroy the collaboration and thereafter join the CDC, their root. And let me take this final one, Marty Wama Brian. Good morning, T-Max. I don't think with these allegations and counter allegations coming out of the CPP, Mr. Cummings should now start thinking about going solo because he has classified all of his colleagues has been corrupt, money launderers, warlords, etc. That's all for now, T-Max.
Thank you very much. Let me read this editorial quickly before we close. The caption, it says, Senator Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence, the onus is now on you to allow fair play in the investigation of the alleged tampering. Over the past few weeks, a lot has happened within the body politics of Liberia, especially within the opposition community. The opposition bloc, particularly the collaborating political party, the CPP, represents the beacon of hope for citizens who feel failed by the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC. However, it is sudden that a CPP appears to be lacking in winning the trust of even the most frustrated Liberian. Issues of trust, credibility, fairness, and honesty have come haunting at the CPP in recent time. The allegation of one of his leaders tampering with their supreme governing document, the framework document, is not one to be taken lightly. However, the genuineness of this allegation must first be tested and proven to be beyond doubts. We have carefully followed the events as they unfold as far as this allegation is concerned. We have followed not because of any vested interest in the CPP. Rather, we are keeping an eagle eye on the character and reputation of those who claim to be most suitable for the leadership of this country. We need not remind anyone that truth and honest leadership has been lacking in this country for several decades. For the potential president to tamper with his or her own party's constitution is just a hint of what could happen to that constitution if the constitution of the state, when it is entrusted in his or her own custody. This is why we take the issues unfolding within the CPP seriously and follow so keenly. However, the manner and form in which the chairman of the CPP has handled this issue over the past 1 week is raising eyebrow as to what could be her motives. Investigating an allegation of this nature requires the utmost fairness as a political career and the preservation of one's years of earned integrity hinges on the truth and accurate outcome of such an investigation. If there is not a witch hunt, then all fairness would be applied. We were taken aback by Senator Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence's failure to allow the CPP lawyers who recommended some amendments to the framework document to validate the findings as agreed by the leadership before coming up with an outright accusation against our own counterpart. Could there be a motive, or was she trying to prove a point? Deviating from the agreed standard and principles puts question mark on the entire process and its outcome. In all fairness, structural changes, which is rearrangement of clauses without altering the content of the clauses, do not amount to altering. Let the real issues be raised, and the pettiness have no place in this matter of such a serious nature. I'll read that again. In all fairness, structural changes, which is the rearrangement of clauses without altering the content of those clauses, do not amount to altering. Let the real issues be raised, and the pettiness have no place in this matter of such a serious nature. This is why we call on Senator Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence to be fair and sincere to the Liberian people who are looking up to the CPP as their beacon of hope by ensuring non-discriminatory, unbiased investigation to allow lawyers to independently validate the findings and observation of the investigative committee. That is the end of the editorial today's edition of the front page with the caption, Senator Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence, the onus is on you now to allow fair play and the investigation of alleged tampering. Our time is up, Anthony Gould. What will be your closing statement?
Well, I'd like to say to Liberians, don't lose hope. I know this can be frustrating at times, but the CPP is well-intentioned. There may be challenges now. I think we will surmount them. Be assured that Mr. Cummings, now the ANC, did not affect any change or alter the document. I think what is happening is pure politics, which is fairly unfortunate. But you can be assured that the CPP, as it is, will not crack on the basis that we, in the ANC, change anything. We will play our part. We will stand our ground. We will ensure that democracy takes its course. No matter how long it takes, all of the processes we agree will play its course. We will.
Brother Gina is back, but Gina has to recuperate before Gina time to be pretending to be.
I'm not worried anyway.
Pretending to be Gina. Gina is back.
Right.
On that note, we come to the end of this edition of 50/50. Our producers, our listeners, our participants for this edition of 50/50. Miss T-Max, tomorrow morning again, I'll be here to ruffle the nest of the eagle to see what lies beyond. See you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.